When it comes to uploading videos on the internet, I really think I'm a strange case. Not because of my weird uploading schedule, but because, whether it's due to funds or availability, I really don't find myself buying new games all that often. You see, due to the responsibilities of being a grown-up, new games have gone back to being a rare joy of childhood that are only really enjoyed once in a while. So much so, I'm a little embarrassed to admit, I only bought a PS4 a couple months ago. Part of making videos for fun means that I don't have to play the new hottest game on the market. In fact, truth be told, I'm kind of in the camp of gamers that gets a little annoyed when all of my favorite Let's Players are all playing the same new game at the same time. But it was through a Let's Player that I first saw the first level of Celeste. And right away, it was what I'd call bored at first sight. It looked basic, and it looked like the creators of it were just like, if we put a vintage retro look in, it will be cool, because everybody loves the 90s. So I just put Celeste out of my mind and moved on. But then something happened that I didn't expect. I heard someone raving about how perfect the game was. Mixing this with IGN's 10 out of 10 review and its $20 entry fee, I decided that Celeste should be the most recent way that I treat myself. Right from the get-go, Celeste makes it very clear that while it may be difficult at times, if I stick with it, eventually I'll get it. And while failing never felt good in Celeste, it meant that I was learning. There was very little in the way of repercussions whenever the main character died, as I just appeared right before the obstacle that previously killed me anyway. Look, in a way that must be felt to be believed, the gameplay just feels right. You can jump, you can dash, you can climb on any flat surface. There's a few mechanics added later on, little by little, but that's about it. This game was my jam. I knew it from the gameplay, and I knew it from the cutscene after the second level that showed me that this story really had something to say. And I played it to the end in a couple days. Maybe a week did work. Occasionally I'd find myself in a room that had an extra strawberry in it. Strawberries are Celeste's way of incentivizing you to do an extra puzzle screen, but I'd find that if I couldn't get the berry on the first couple tries, I'd just move back to the main path and be on my way. The game went out of its way to tell me that these strawberries were just for show, and they don't unlock anything special. So I felt justified in my choice. But like I said earlier, I played the game to the end. And once I reached the top of the mountain, I unlocked a bonus last level that you can only get all the way through if you found all of the hidden crystal hearts in all of the stages. I only had one at the time, so I couldn't get very far. I found myself looking up online where these crystal hearts were, and some of the hearts just seemed downright ludicrous that anyone would be able to figure out on their own where they were. Especially the ones that required weird button combinations reminiscent of old NES games for the hearts to even appear. So I made a choice. I decided that I had reached the top of Celeste Mountain, and that was good enough for me. But I was still in the mood for a good platformer. It was on the PlayStation Store that I saw that Super Meat Boy was finally available. I say finally because even though I had wanted to buy the game ever since it came out almost a decade ago, I only had a PS3 at the time, so it was never available to me. It was even more inexpensive than Celeste, and I was jonesing for more run and jump obstacle courses, so I thought, what the heck? We're doing this. The first palpable sensation in comparing the two games was that the tones that both games are going for are not just opposite from each other, but almost completely inverted. What I mean by that is that Celeste introduces itself with piano stylings of Lena Raine, and a you-can-do-it attitude. Super Meat Boy starts out with heavy electric guitar, and an attitude reveling in the fact that it knows I'm gonna get my ass kicked. At least that's the impression that I got seeing Meat Boy's face prominently displayed with a black eye and a missing tooth. It's almost as if Celeste is my mom, telling me that everything is going to be alright and comforting me when I fall down. And Super Meat Boy is my dad, telling me that life is tough and I need to be strong if I'm gonna get through it. From the multiple times that I had watched others play Super Meat Boy, I knew exactly what to expect in terms of control. I can't climb and hold on to things like in Celeste, but I can run, jump, and wall jump to get where I need to go, all the while leaving a trail of raw, ground meat blood on anything that I touched. As used to platformers as I am, I still died a lot more in Super Meat Boy than I did in Celeste. While both games are very difficult, it's very rare in Celeste that my immediate goal was somewhere off screen. You can usually see the goal on the same screen you start on, then the game saves, and I would have yet another goal to reach. Super Meat Boy has a different philosophy, however. Each stage has multiple obstacles under one theme, and can take up multiple screens. If you fail the obstacle course, you have to start all over again. It was in failing these courses time and time again that I realized I was cursing a lot more than I had been while playing Celeste, but I kept on going. From the way that this sounds, you could say Celeste is less a series of obstacle courses and more a series of obstacle screens. Once I completed the screen, I didn't have to worry. I knew I'd never have to do it again unless I wanted to collect something later, such as a silver heart or a strawberry I missed. Which brings me to the most important difference between the two in my opinion. Super Meat Boy also has collectibles that are completely optional in the form of bandages. The difference is, these aren't just for show. Every time I would collect 10 bandages over the course of multiple stages, I would unlock a new character to play as, usually from another indie game that was made around the same time as Meat Boy about 8 years ago. How cool is that? This completely changes the game and gives me a much more fun incentive to do an extra puzzle. Collecting all of the silver hearts and B-side tapes in Celeste would only unlock more puzzles. And while I guess you could argue that these extra puzzles change up how I'd play, I still can't help but feel a little swindled. I had been told from the start of Celeste to not worry and to go at my own pace, that doing extra doesn't matter. I loved playing Celeste. It felt great, and it made me want to get that girl up the mountain, through its fun gameplay and through its heartwarming story. But it told me with its message that I can choose not to continue if I want to. I guess I'm just taking Celeste up on its offer. From the very start of Super Meat Boy, I was shown that there are dark world versions of each level that are much more difficult. So I don't feel blindsided that there might be an extra ending. And I feel more vindicated in my decision to go for that ending from the start. Even if upon first consideration you'd assume Celeste is the one with the story worth seeing to the very end. But I made it to the top of the mountain already. I don't think there's anything more I need to discover. At least not right now. Conversely, I already know that Meat Boy is going to be reunited with Bandage Girl. He's not going to discover the true meaning of life, or have something profound to say about post-traumatic stress disorder. But having the true objective in front of me from the start makes seeing it to the end a much more digestible goal in my opinion, even if it makes me feel like cursing a little more. Super Meat Boy is telling me that I can't do it. And while it is true that I made this video while still in the process of playing Super Meat Boy, damn it if I'm not going to prove it fucking wrong. But if I end up not completing Meat Boy, then it's my decision, and that's okay. I can't invariably say one game is better than the other. Celeste is exactly what it tries to be. Super Meat Boy is exactly what it tries to be. I wouldn't rate one a 9 and the other a 10. Both are challenging, both have tight controls. But what I feel is most important is that when I play a video game, I don't lose sight of why I'm doing it. For fun. And that at any time, it's okay to just move on.